And I wanted to ask them what surprised them the most in your web testing experience. All of you, I wanted to ask you, because I know you went into it thinking, oh, I'm going to evaluate web pages, and surely there was a surprise or two. So Grace, what did you find?
I think my surprise was the diversity of programs that people who use assistive technology use. I thought from my limited experience it was just JAWS and Zoom text, and you used one or the other, and so I was surprised to find people who have perhaps the same amount of vision that I do, or maybe a little bit less. They do say what Jim does, and does a mix of Zoom text and Kurzweil, and I know at least one person, another web tester, uses Zoom text and JAWS. I had no idea anybody did that. So I thought it was just interesting to see how people who maybe are in the same boat as I am find different ways to do the same things that I do.
Right. Jim?
Definitely. I feel that, I mean, even this morning I was learning about things from my MP3 player that I didn't even know, existed. And like Grace was saying, I mean, someone who has, equivalent vision to myself, does things just a little bit differently. So it just kind of shows that the preferences of each individual person will vary, and that kind of impacts how they're going to utilize, the assistive technology.
Well, it's what do they call it? Multiple means of modality, or multiple ways to access, and I start now when I design. I start thinking, what's a lot of different ways people could access this information. And it might mean you'd have some flyout menus, but you'd also repeat all those links on another navigation part of the page, so that people can choose different ways of accessing. Clay, what were you surprised at?
I am using the web accessibility toolbar to disable CSS and to look at all of the images on the site and stuff. Just there were a lot of things that it pointed out to me that I didn't even think about, like when you disable CSS, how much the page changes and how much CSS plays in the layout, or how many images on this page actually don't have alt text on them that I might not have even looked at.
Yeah, we found some great tools that are automated that you can use to evaluate your web pages. What surprised you, Allison?
What surprised me most is all the different assistive technology that exists. I tend to think of, I work with Grace, so I tend to think of screen readers, Zoom text. I was familiar I knew that JAWS existed, but and so when I was thinking about designing web pages, I thought about visual users and screen readers. And there's people out there who use a head mouse, for example, and point at pieces of information on a page to select information. So, or have trouble with a mouse with fine motor skills. So just the range of different issues that people might have when accessing a website.